And good evening, everyone. My name is Don Chandler. I am one of the math teachers at Salisbury, and I'm here to talk to you about your mathematics options in high school. Now, the chart that you're looking at on the screen is very complicated, and it is available in the course handbook. So don't think that you need to study it or copy it, because it is available and it's available online. Basically, one of the questions that we get coming out of grade 9 is a student says, well, what should I go into? Well, science and math are very similar. If you are not a science person, you look at Science 14. If you're not a math person, and that chart does say, if you've got a mark that is less than 50% coming out of grade 9, you're going to want to look at Math 10-3. Math 10-3, very similar to Science 14, leads to Math 20-3, where Science 14 leads to Science 24. Now, like science, you can stop after the 20 level mathematics. All you need for mathematics at the high school level is to get to grade 11. So if you go to Math 20-3 and say, I'm done, yep, you will graduate. There is a Math 30-3 course, and a few students will take it, and you'd learn more about it in Math 20-3, but it is an option. Now, we are very lucky at Salisbury to offer a course that says, and it's the second one from the bottom left, Math 10-3, 10C all year. And it's exactly what it sounds like. A student takes Math 10-3 and then 10C. Now, who would take this? A student who passes grade 9, but doesn't necessarily feel very confident in their mathematical abilities. The way the course works, and I'll be discussing it from a semester standpoint, the way Math 10-3, 10C works is that we teach you Math 10-3 in 4 months, and that allows us to take 6 months instead of the normal 5 to do 10C. So this is a great course for students who pass grade 9 but are just not feeling confident to go into Math 10C. So you'll notice that our chart in our slide there says you got a mark between about 50 and 65. You might want to look at the full year. And then, as I said, its purpose is to teach 10-3 a little faster because it's not as difficult, thereby giving students more time in 10C before moving on to grade 11. If you're saying, no, my mark is above 65, then you just want to look at 10C, the regular Math 10C course. All right. Now, as the slide in front of you says, well, what happens if I'm above the 65 and I'm thinking, hey, I might be an honor student? You might want to look at the Math 10 pre-IB course. Now, I'll explain the difference between Math 10C, yeah, your mark is above 65, and the Math 10C pre-IB, your mark is above 80. They are the same course. And as my colleagues have mentioned, you are assessed on exactly the same material. So I want to get rid of any misconception that if you take a pre-IB course, your mark might suffer, because it won't. And it doesn't matter what the course is, whether it be English, social science, or math, we assess you, even in a pre-IB course, on the Alberta curriculum. What we do, though, is instead of needing to take maybe 3 or 4 examples for a concept to be taught, we can do it in 1 or 2 examples. That allows us to go a little deeper. It allows us to teach a few extra things that are covered in the IB material. So please, if you're thinking, hey, I wonder if I should take pre-IB math, my response would be, why not? The worst thing that could happen is you say, it's not for me, and in grade 11, you take regular 20-1. Or you'll find a cohort of students and a material that you love, and you'll continue on into Math 20 IB. So, most people will take Math 10C. A few might decide to do Math 10 IB if their mark is in grade 9 of 80 or above. If your mark is in between 50 and 65, look at that Math 10-3, 10C all year option. And if you're thinking, no, math is just not me, this is a terrible situation, but I got to graduate, well, then you look at Math 10-3, and you'll take 20-3, and you will have your high school diploma. Now, you will notice, and I've got a few questions myself that are very common, so that I'm going to answer, but we've gone and placed a couple calculators because one of the common questions that we do get is students who say, well, what calculator should I have coming into high school? Well, it's very simple. You will notice on the right side of the screen a simple scientific calculator worth about $15. If you're going into 10-3, then all you need is a simple scientific calculator that has sine, cosine, tangent. We'll teach you how to use that, but you don't need to spend the money on a big TI calculator if you're looking at 10-3. If you are looking at 10C and then moving on into 10 or 20-1, 20-2, then the Alberta government in the curriculum says you should have a graphing calculator. Now, we recommend the TI calculator, and that's what we teach with, but technically speaking, you could have any graphing calculator. So the good news is, while it is, about $140 to get the TI calculator, you will use that TI calculator in Math 10, 20, 30. You will use it in your science courses. And so that calculator that happens to be on the left, the TI calculator, the graphing calculator, will be used all throughout high school. So you're not buying it just for one course. You're buying it for anywhere between 6 to 10 courses. So that's the most common question is students saying, what should I take and what calculator do I need? I am happy to entertain questions, and I'm sure that Mrs. Wyman will probably have a question for me. Otherwise, I'm sure I've got a few questions in the back of my head that I've heard over the years.
I do have a question for you, Mr. Chandler. Could you share with the students what are some of the topics that they're going to learn in Math 10?
Well, the one big one is algebra. So, and science, Mr. Buchan, my colleague, alluded to it as well. In grade 10, we spend a lot of time talking about lines, and we spend a lot of time moving formulas and moving numbers. So you are probably familiar, students, with the acronym BEDMAS, brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. If you're coming out of grade 9 and you're saying, hey, I know how to get rid of an adding 3 via subtraction, then lo and behold, you would be able to find Math 10 very easy. Over and above lines, we are going to talk about functions, which are a very specific type of line. We are going to teach you how to solve where two lines cross. That's where the graphing calculator comes in. We do some measurements, so we talk about surface area and volume. We will introduce you to trigonometry, which is sine, cosine, and tangent, and then we spend a lot of time factoring. So if you happen to have an older sibling who's been through math, then they will understand the word factoring.
Thank you. Another question. What excites you about teaching math?
Students often think that they are not a math person. And if you literally pick up a pencil and do something with a number, then you are a math person. And I absolutely guarantee that you will have an aha moment. And so taking that student who, I never thought of that. I never knew that. No one ever explained it that way before. That's what I love about teaching mathematics. And it will happen. Every student is going to have that, oh, I never realized that before. So that is a fond moment for me when I see the aha moment in a student's eyes or face.
Wonderful. I know students will often ask things, why do I need to take this subject other than that I need it to graduate? What are some reasons that math can be useful for these students?
Well, I have two schools of thought on that. One, mathematics is a language. It is no different than learning French, Spanish. You are just learning to think and speak in a new language. The other, and math teachers are not fond of this, but math is used as a gatekeeper. You will often find, to get into a post-secondary institution, they put a math course down. And you wonder, well, why do I need so much math just to become a whatever it is that you wish to become? Well, when you think about math education, you realize to learn math, you need to be able to sit down, you need to be able to take information in, analyze it, accept that, hey, I'm going to make a mistake, and I'm going to learn from that mistake, and just be a rigorous person who says, even if this doesn't work, I'm going to try again. Well, that skill set will transfer to any job. And I think that's why mathematics gets used as a gatekeeper into a lot of post-secondary programs.
Is there anything else you would just like to say to our grade 9s before we move on to our next presentation?
Well, one, we are most looking forward to your arrival. I know that going from grade 9 to grade 10 is scary, and as a Sal grad of 1992, I remember doing the grade 10 open house back in 1989. Yes, we got to come into the school, and I thought, wow, this school is so big, I'll never find my classes, I'm going to get lost. And within about 3 days, you know exactly where everything is, and you just move on, and everything is going well. So don't worry. Many of us have been where you are right now. There's actually a small contingent of teachers at Salisbury who graduated from this fine institution. And then the only other thing I'll add is I often get asked sort of behind the scenes, well, what's the difference between Salisbury and Bev Facey? Honestly, not much. They are both great schools. I have taught at Salisbury for 20 years, and I know all of my math colleagues at Bev Facey. I know many of the other colleagues in the other departments. And no matter where you go, you will get a great education, and I can guarantee that. But if you want to know the one difference between Salisbury and Bev Facey, we have air conditioning. Now, people laugh when I say that, but you will appreciate that statement when May and June roll around, and all of a sudden you come in from the outside, and Salisbury is a pleasant 20, 21 degrees Celsius. And it's just so much nice to have air conditioning in this building. But other than that, whatever school you choose between Bev Facey and Salisbury, I guarantee Elk Island Public Schools will get you to wherever you wish to go. We are most looking forward to your arrival next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will be taking a brief pause and starting this again at 7 o'clock. So for people that have joined us, we have gone through our different academic departments now, and then at 7 we will start back at the top to talk